got talented offense. They got a lot of guys that can make explosive plays. They got two good-ass running backs. It's a good 1-2 punch. And then, obviously, at the quarterback position, you got a star in the making, if not a star already. So it's going to be a challenge. We're familiar with them. They're familiar with us. And, it's going to be a good game.
You talked about Caleb there. Where have you seen him make the biggest strides under Ben Johnson?
I think you could tell that he is more comfortable with just being him. I think sometimes, you get a good player and, sometimes it kind of hinders the player when he can't be himself. But I think now that with that coach, he's given him the freedom to go out there and just be who he is. And, it's letting him, make plays and, take chances when they're there and extend plays and kind of just like I said, be him, be who he's always been since, the college days. So, yeah.
What do you tell younger teammates about how things are going to change now in the playoffs?
I've just been preaching, it's only one opportunity. I think that's kind of like the biggest thing from regular season and the playoffs. It's one shot. It's not, you get a game and then you get another opportunity. No, it's one opportunity. You got to make the most of it. So that being said, the details have to be on point. The play style has to be on point. And we got to be ready to go. We can't take it for granted because, so I know people that have been in the league for, longer than I have and haven't been to one playoff. So just, letting them know to not take this moment for granted and it don't come around too often. So just making the most out of it.
This might be similar to Dennis' first question, but playing a team 3 times, how does preparation differ the third time around?
I don't think it's a different level of preparation. We're both very familiar with each other. I think, when you plan a team multiple times, I think it just comes down to play style and who's going to really play the hardest. And I really think, that's what it is. I think, we're still going to prepare, the right way and do it how we always prepare. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about, when you get in between those lines, those white lines, who's going to go the hardest every play for 60 minutes. And whoever does is usually the team that come out successful.
Knowing that the first 2 games came down to crunch time and the very last play pretty much, how important is it to really get a grasp on the crunch time, 2-minute drill, anything, late in the game, because these are 2 teams that like to play each other.
Very important. It's very important. I think every situation of football and this game is going to be very important, because, it might, you're talking about 2 minutes, but it could be something that happened earlier a situation that happened earlier in the game that might have an effect on the game later. So you never really know, what situation is going to have an effect, but you do know that all of them count. So when they do show up, you got to be on your keys and you got to know, what's coming, what to expect, and you got to be able to capitalize on plays.
So where do you think your defense is right now? The good and maybe the area where you'd like to see yourself be better with what's on the line?
I'd rather keep that kind of in-house. But I think we got a really good defense. I think we know, what we have to correct. We play games and obviously we could have been better in areas, but we're not perfect. And, another thing I've been preaching is everything that's happened in the past is what it is. Like, everybody's 0-0, so now is our time to reset and reestablish our identity as a defense and as a team. So that's kind of my message.
You had not missed a snap at all before getting Sunday off. Do you think you probably needed it too, whether you'd admit it or not, but how much do you think it helped that all the frontline guys got that time off?
Big time. I think all of us getting that time off, and I'm not even going to say time off, that game off, it was big for all of us. I think we needed that for our bodies, for our mentals, to be ready for this moment, that we're going to be faced upon on Saturday. So I think it was good for all of us.
You mentioned your message to the younger players who maybe haven't been in a playoff game before, but a lot of you in here have postseason experience.
Yep.
How valuable is that this week in preparation and then as the game unfolds?
As far as what experience?
In the playoffs? Or
Um,
is there nothing, or not as much?
I mean, yeah, it matters. I think experience matters at a point. But I've also seen, guys with a ton of experience get beat by guys that don't have a ton of experience. I think it's all about play style and how you go out there and play and execute. Because you can have a guy with a whole bunch of experience, but if he don't prepare the right way, then that experience don't mean nothing. So it all just depends on the player, and it depends on how you go out there and prepare. So I don't even want to say experience. It has something to do with it at a point for sure. But it just depends on who the player is.
Actually, you sort of have this relaxed demeanor. How do you stay so cool, calm, and collected all the time?
I don't know. It's just who I am. I never try to get too high. I never try to get too low. And like I said before, it's not just for me. It's for these guys around me as well that are looking to me for different things, looking at me to lead or be a certain way. So I try not to get too high. I try not to get too low. Even in games, my demeanor is going to be the same at all times because good things can happen, but also bad things can happen. But you can't really go off of that. You got to just kind of keep going. You got to move on from things, whether it's good or bad, and that helps your group also do the same. So I just try to keep that mentality to try to help not only myself but the guys around me.
Is it the same mentality you keep when thinking about games too? This is obviously a really big game, but at the end of the day, it is just another game.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely how I see. Obviously, it's very important to me, and I show that through how I prepare and how I go into meetings and how I do walkthroughs and how I go out to practice and then how I go out there and play. So, it definitely matters, but, I just try to stay even keel all the way through.
You mentioned the experience thing, and I know you guys have to perform, you have to execute, but is there something to be said about the confidence that you guys can have as a group, especially guys that have been in the playoffs against a quarterback and a head coach for the first time that have not been in the playoffs? Is there something confidence-wise that maybe you guys have more of that, and you think because of the inexperience on the other sideline that you guys can excel in your confidence?
Nah, it ain't even about none. That's what I'm saying. It ain't about none of that. Because regardless of experience, that don't mean you can't get beat. So I try not to push that message, to the guys, because I think, regardless of experience or not, you can still go out there and get beat, regardless of if you got hella experience or not. So I just don't think that's really the right message to go about it. So I don't even think about it that way.
Xavier, if rebound plays a fair amount, are there ways for you to be able to, relay, signal, let him know? That's a big playbook, right?
Yeah.
And you want to have everything in your tools.
For sure.
Is that something you would be able to do, or is that too hard?
Yeah.
To let him know, okay, this is a certain blitz that's coming. Be ready.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do it every game. I got to do it regardless of, even when Trey wasn't here. Sometimes that's a part of my job. Is to relay the message around, the entire back end or, to Quay and just having that communication, having them hand signals. So it's not just Trey that I'm gonna have to do that with. That's a part of my job, and I take pride in that. So regardless of, what we're in, I try to always have a hand signal or something. So if they might have ran a deep ball and they can't get back to the huddle and hear the call, and I hear the call before them, or I get there before them, I gotta have, a hand signal ready for them so they know what to do. So, I take pride in that, and it's not just gonna be for him, but for him, obviously he's newer, so I know every time he in the game, my job is to, make sure 2A got the call, and I'm gonna make sure I do that.
Actually, we've asked you a lot of questions about experience,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like you've gotten a ton of these opportunities to this point in your career either.
For sure.
So while you want to treat it like just another game, how much do you have to also cherish this opportunity and understand just the dynamic of it?
Well, fortunate enough for me, I've played in big time games before, so I know how to handle myself. I know it comes with big time games and playing in them and being able to play well in them as well. And I haven't played well in all of them, but I've had my experience in big time games as well. So for me though, I still cherish these moments because, like I said, it's guys that's been in the league longer than me that haven't gotten to one of these games. So I definitely don't take this moment for granted. And like I said, I show that through how I prepare for these moments and get myself ready to play.